Bereavement apparitions are real. What if I told you that research was actually looking into why certain people experience what they call bereavement apparitions? So that's when those loved ones that have passed away kind of come back to give us comfort or to let us know they're okay on the other side. Have you ever had a family member say, I swear, Dad came and I smelled him. I smelled his cigar smoke. I smelled his cologne. I felt him give me a hug. I sensed his presence in the car, or I saw him in my rearview mirror, or, I was sleeping and I woke up and Mom was standing on the edge of my bed. Have you ever heard stories like that from your friends and family? This is very commonly talked about, especially in hospice. We talk about that a lot in the hospice field. But research has actually looked into why certain people experience this phenomenon. Well, I myself had an experience where I was sleeping, and when you're in that hypnagogic phase between awake and sleep, and I was kind of in that in-between, and I know I heard my father, who is now deceased, I know I heard him call my name out. I heard, Andrea, like really loud, like how he used to shout out my name when I was a kid. And it really, I was still coming out of my sleep, again, hypnagogic state, but then I was completely awake looking around like, did I just hear that yell? Did I just hear that? The interesting thing is most people report that they have these bereavement apparition visits between the early morning hours of 2 and 4 a.m. I talk about this on my prior video. And that's in the research, it's reported that's when most of these experiences happen. Not that it always has to be that time, but I know with myself, it must have been the evening and I was driving in my car. I was off to see a patient. This was back when I was doing hospice before my private practice. And I'm driving and I was really thinking about my dad a lot. Like, I wish my dad was here to see everything I'm doing now because he always wanted me to be a doctor. And I just wish I could talk to him now about all that. And I kid you not, like I'm driving it and like, you feel the goosebumps on your neck and your hair standing on end. And I could just feel he was in the car with me. I know I can't prove anything. I didn't see him. I didn't hear him, but I could just feel that his spirit was there with me. Have you ever experienced anything like that? I just think that's amazing. So I want to say exactly kind of what they're talking about here in the research. And they do talk about intermittent shifts in magnetic fields have shown to actually decrease melatonin levels in the brain. And I look at that and I think, okay, how can that affect what we're experiencing? Well, again, I've talked about on a prior video, what happens in the brain during deep sleep or that deep REM sleep. We have melatonin from the pineal gland is released. We have more serotonin released. So there's a lot of chemical changes in the brain that occur when we're sleeping to get us into those deep sleeps where you may experience the apparitions coming in your dreams or lucid dreaming. And now imagine if you live right by a cell phone tower. Again, I'm not an expert on 5G. I don't know the difference between the EMF or the electromagnetic activity that comes from 5G or regular cell phone towers. I don't know. If you know, please comment below and let us know. But the research has shown that the intermittent shifts in these magnetic fields can decrease melatonin levels in the brain. So, that's a real thing. And if you're not getting the melatonin, you're not getting that deep sleep, the different alpha waves, beta waves, everything that occurs in your brain, the levels of sleep that you achieve, and are you experiencing things or are you not? Some people that I talk to, like, I never have anything happen. I feel like there's nothing around. I'm like, okay, what's their environment? Do they keep their cell phone on their nightstand? I've even read that it's a good idea to turn off, all your cell phones, even if you have Wi-Fi in your house, just kind of taking a break from all that electric EMF activity in the house and turn that all down, kind of create a peaceful, quiet environment. And if you're really trying to get your prayer through to your loved one on the other side, might that enhance it? I don't know. I can't prove it, but we know for sure the research says high electric magnetic activity can reduce melatonin levels. You might even just sleep better. I mean, if you think about, people that have to supplement with melatonin because, they want better sleep, what if you just, Even unplugging the big screen TV if it's right next to your bed, like shut down all the electrical activity. You just might get a better night's sleep. It's something to consider. So this was also interesting because they were looking at the occurrence of a sensed presence and the activity of bereavement apparitions during the early morning hours. And could that increase or decrease the likelihood of that happening? And so in this patient, they had a brain injury, so they were having convulsions. And now the person with the brain injury was having more supernatural experiences. And have you ever seen that documentary? There was a gentleman that, he wasn't really good in school. He just had just like a regular job, nothing intense. And I believe he got hit in a bar or something and had a brain injury. And all of a sudden he became a math genius. It's like different parts of the brain had to kind of now kick into action because of damage to the other part of the brain. And now he can do complex math calculations. I mean, he might even be a contributor of changing some math or solving things we haven't before. So why couldn't that happen with having maybe a better connection to the other side or the other dimension or a heightened sense of spiritual awareness? So this person had a brain injury and now they were having convulsions and they were experiencing more supernatural experiences, bereavement apparitions, and just augmented supernatural things happening, like seeing and experiencing like another spirit in the room or sensing a presence next to them or actually hearing things from the other side. Doesn't that blow your mind? Like, to me, that's so interesting. Now, this is still being studied. There's nothing that we can prove, but one thing I can compare it to, if you think about, how can I know here being, where I'm sitting right now, what I'm thinking of, how could I know what a spirit's thinking on the other side or what someone on the other side of the world is experiencing or seeing? Well, think about a telephone. A telephone, if you talked about someone hundreds of years ago, if you could say, hey, you can talk to someone in Russia or Australia just with a little stone, a little metal stone that you put up to your ear, they would think you were a witch, right? But now we can put this little metal stone up to our ear and you can talk to and hear the ideas and the thoughts of someone all the way across the world. So I kind of thinking of, a pipeline into other dimensions or a spiritual dimension. What can enable that pipeline? Now, since we are electric, beings and we have electrical activity in our brain and the electric activity around us affects our connection to the other side, that kind of gives you an idea of like how that all works, kind of like a telephone, right? So what's the moral of the story of this? Shut down the electrical activity in your room, get the cell phone away from your nightstand, unplug everything away from your bed, and just see if you have a better night's sleep and see maybe if maybe your prayer could be answered. Can your spiritual thoughts or what's coming from the spiritual realm, whether you're an author, will it stimulate your ability to write better or your creativity to blossom just because now you're a little bit more open to the other side? Just something to think about. Thanks for being here. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. If you like this content, give it a like, and I'll see you on the next one.